Gedi Pug, the turban of Baga. Baga is the name of person. It is narrated from the memories of the author of the period just before the construction of Mangla Dam in Mirpur, which submerged this ancient town of Kashmir and nearly 300 surrounding villages. The story is about a man called Baga, who is a livestock trader and a great storyteller. So when he tells people of Arthur's village about the rumors of building a dam on the river Jhelum, people take it as another of his stories and laugh at the idea of stopping the river, and that too of mighty Jhelum. However, when they could see the mechanical giants moving around Mirpur city, they started believing Baga, and the thought of losing the city and surrounding area generated a great deal of anxiety and fear among people. It captures the graphic detail of the drowning of life bit by bit in water and the breakup of social fabric rooted in centuries. Its climax is when the shocks of seeing Mirpur drowning in water before his eyes cripples Baga, and he paralyzes him, and he becomes ill and bedridden within days and sends his son to see the drowning of his village, Babiam. And upon their return, Baga asked them about the minute details of how the water swallowed each and everything of Babiam. But the paragraphs I have translated and going to read are about a woman whose father dies just before the water rises, and she wants to bury him outside the area that was demarcated to be submerged in the Mangla lake. But the peer of that area, who was to lead the funeral prayer, Janaza, brands this desire as un-Islamic, but later when he realizes that the grave of his father was also going to become underwater, he turns the removal of his father's body from grave into a mass event of spirituality and claims that those who witness this great transfer as the most fortunate people. I don't think I could do justice with the translation, but I hope that some meanings will be conveyed. The author writes that this took me back several years to the day when I went to a funeral with my mother in the Ara village before it was surrounded by the Mangla lake. The village was almost deserted. People had started to salvage whatever they could of their homes. The deceased sons were pleading to be allowed to bury their father outside of the area that was to be submerged. His daughter was wailing and saying, "Oh father, I don't know where I would be ended up. I don't know if I would ever be able to visit your grave." The daughter lived just outside the demarcated area. All the family members were pleading to be allowed to bury him outside of the area that were to come underwater. Having heard all this wailing and pleadings, the local peer who was to lead Janaza became hysterical and said, "Oh, you ignorant, irrational beings, listen to me. What you are asking for is against the law of Shariat, the ways of Islam. The deceased will be buried right here, or go and find someone else to lead the funeral prayers." The daughter of the deceased started wailing loud, "Oh, my beloved father, had I been aware of this cruelty, I would have carried you to my own home before your soul left your body." The peer, telling her off, shouted, "Oh girl, don't commit blasphemy. The dead belong to the earth. This soul was written in his destiny from the day one." This made Baga jump. Settling his turban on his head, he said, if this soil was written in his destiny, then this too would have been written, that this land will not be flooded and stay free for people to grow sugarcane, the sweet sugarcane. Don't know what more he would have been said, but someone put hand on his mouth and silenced him. But his words were picked up, and in the next Friday prayer, the Imam of local mosque said in his sermon, "Those who utter this kind of thoughts are pure kafirs, irreligious, like the white man. All non-believers have become one. Look at the graves of those who had power. The water dare touches them. The bulldozers don't go near them." The people shouted slogan to that, but Baga was thinking, what his elders did wrong, why their bonds were so weak. Then he started repeating this outside of the mosque, in every gathering, in every meeting. No one answered his question, but he kept repeating it like a broken record. He kept asking, someone tell me, make me understand, why are we drowned like this? Are we the pharaohs? He kept asking questions and water kept rising. The area kept drowning, villages after villages. Everyone was on the move. There were few people who stayed put in the village with Baga. All preparations were completed. The time of the rising of the water to Baga's village, Bamyam, was fixed. Suddenly, mosques started making announcements. Whoever wants to see the miracles, come to the shrine of Beads on Sunday and see how the beautiful God keeps his own people protected in their graveyards. It was announced that the Buzurg of Pir Sahib, father of the local Pir, came in someone's dreams and asked to be taken out of the reach of water. To this, Baga thought, God can do everything. Possibly he won't let water flow forward. May his ancestors also come in his dreams, but they did not. On Sunday, he too went to the shrine. A huge crowd was gathered. The body was taken out, but the arrangements were such that no common person was left near the grave. Someone said conversation could be heard from inside the grave. Soon this was repeated everywhere, and drums and flutes were started playing, and slogans were shouted. That girl too came to the gathering without any head covering. She was wailing, "Oh my beloved father, they buried you there where you will be soon in water, but they have taken their own father away. Tell me, my father, what can I do?" Some people started saying, "She has lost it. She's gone mad. What is the comparison of your father with the great spiritual being?" On that day, Baga, who never took off his turban, took it off to cover the head of that girl. "My child, what you are saying is truth, but what is the value of truth today? Keep quiet, my child. Stay quiet."